Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today it's all about gift giving because 'tis the season. So today I actually got a really cool gift from a client. It's beard ornaments. So we're gonna be doing that as a time lapse. You know that. And we're gonna talk about, a few plants that would be really good as gifts, giving it to beginners or, somebody who has been growing plants for a long, long time. So we'll get to that all coming up on this episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all. So I picked this as a crowd favorite. This is a Pathos. And Laura actually got this from somebody at her work that was retiring, and it came in just absolute terrible shape. So I really cut it back. I changed the soil, gave it some fertilizer, and as you see now, a couple of years later, it's crawling down the floor and up across the ceiling and even going up above the laundry. So I'm going cray with this thing. I want to wrap it around the whole house. So anyways, it's not because I'm, great with specific houseplants or anything like this. This Pathos is really easy to grow. And if you give it sunlight, you give it water and plant food, it's going to be nice and shiny and give you these full leaves, and it'll be a nice full plant. If you see one that's stringy or, just unhealthy coloring, yellow tips, obviously there's a problem with the watering and or the soil and or the sun. So those are the three things with these houseplants. It's not like growing a bonsai. It's not that difficult. So I'll show you what I do. So when it gets on the floor and it gets too long, naturally I want to prune them back because I don't want it to get stepped on and trampled. So what I do is I find a nice healthy one with a few inner nodes, and they get these little, you see here, you see these things? So if you put that in water or soil, that's going to lengthen out and multiply as roots. So you see, I got to fill these with water. Actually, they need some. I like to keep them up to right where that hole is. That's where it goes on the hook and goes onto the wall. So I put them in these things, and I love them just crawling down the wall, and I'll leave them there. But it's also nice, in a pinch, you have an awesome plant that you could throw in a pot for somebody, great roots, and do that thing. So now we've talked about the Pathos. Okay, another great one would be your spider plant, because the spider plant will just continue to get awesome, and it'll grow little spiderets, and then you end up with, boom, boom, the mother plant that's babies have babies have babies have babies. So this is like the great grandmother plant now at this point. So the spider plant is up there on the list as well. So both of those I would give to beginners, to, just busy professionals that don't have a lot of time. Maybe one day a week they have a chance to water it and appreciate it, but otherwise they're really low maintenance. Okay. We talked about in a previous video, jades. They're also a great present, very low maintenance, whether there's a lot of sun, little sun, it doesn't really matter. Those bad boys are going to grow and do pretty well. So I have those actually in some perlite all the way at the bottom, and then moisture control topsoil. And I water those every time I fill these votives. So that's probably once every 3 weeks. Okay, and then along those lines, additionally, see, I have some cuttings rooting right now here. Additionally, I think that the pencil cactus makes a great one because they root really well in water. So that's how I do it over here. You can see, look at those long roots. This has been, I don't know when I did that video, maybe a month and a half ago. And you see the roots, they're insane. So those are really good. I'm probably not going to give any of those as presents because I just took all the cuttings and I hung them from the window, and I put them in these like old wine bottles. So that's what I have going on in there. So I'm not going to give those as presents, even though that is a really good one. And then I guess the last one I would say and put on the list as far as easy goes would be figs. A nice little fig tree, even if you give a small cutting or if you give a large cutting, they're really cool. They're low maintenance and they bear fruit. So that would be my list of plants, my top 5 house plants to give as a gift for Christmas. So here in a little bit, I have some different variety of pots. We're going to plant some of my cuttings that have rooted up, and then we're going to put some beads in my beard. And you know what? We're going to put the ornaments in my beard first, and then I'll do it while I jingle the whole time. All right, y'all, stand by. Y'all. So I already cut one replacement. I need to find 2 more because I chose a bunch of these pathos as the plants to use. So I want to pick a nice one. I think this would be an attractive start, and there's a really nice strong root and another one, actually, potential one coming out right here. So I want to use that. So I'll take off the leaf that's near that root because this is the part that's going to go in the glass votive. Okay, and I'll leave a little room for dieback on both ends. So, you know, this way it doesn't really affect this root here, and it doesn't affect this part of this branch or arm of the plant, because now that's going to increase leaf growth coming out of the inner nodes on that one branch. So it'll get thicker and fuller here. So it actually helps. So that's one. I already had cut one previously, and I need one more. Right. This one has some nice colors. Oh, it looks like I already took a cutting from it. So let's see. I don't really see any strong roots on that one yet, or potential roots. What else we have here? Whoa, this one's got some nice ones. Look at that. All right. So this will just have a shorter start. Okay. All right, cool. All right, y'all. So you see I have this nice one in there in the top. And you cut off that bottom leaf. You don't want that soaking in the water because it'll just rot. And even though this doesn't have roots established yet, kind of the weight of it and the curve of the branch allows it to stay in that votive. If you do something like this with a vase or a glass votive to root these, just make sure every time you change the water or fill the water, you clean out the votive or the vase. Don't be lazy on that because it gets like a buildup of green slime, and I've seen it affect roots. You know, if I didn't get to it before we took a trip or something like that, and I've come back and there's been issues with the roots. So just make sure you clean it every time you fill the water. I'm just going to pop this replacement in here. And then finally this one in here. Oh, you know what? I got to remove this. You always want to remove the adjacent leaf. And then we're using that root. The cool thing about these pathos is that they're all different, all the cuttings. Some will go upright and start to branch, almost like a poinsettia, and then others you see will weep right away. All right, so let's get to planting. All right, y'all. Luckily, I had 2 of these pathos cuttings in one of those votives, so I was able to pull 4 from that, and then I'm going to do 1 Chinese red pine today. I grew this from seed December 1st last year. It's just now starting to get its branching, and it's relatively thin at the trunk. I've noticed between Scotch pines, Japanese, black, Chinese red, and Connecticut red pines that the red pines definitely take the longest to develop. Okay, so they're the skinniest at this point, all grown from seed at the same time, and also they have the smallest amount of branching. But I think this is setting up nice for spring. So I have one client whose family has been in the tree services for decades and decades and decades. So she has a solid knowledge, of growing fruits and vegetables, and she has, house plants and trees on her property. Earlier this year, I gave her a Trident maple as a present, and it was in spring. So when all the buds started opening up and everything, she knew what to do, and she actually successfully was able to plant it in the ground. So now that's on her nice big farm/property. So I like to do things like that. So since she does have a knowledge, I'm going to give her a tree, okay? And then, my other clients, they're either, way too freaking busy, or they just don't have the experience, space, house lighting to give them something complicated. So I'm not going to set them up for failure. So you see we got these nice roots on these cuttings. So we're going to put them in some good soil. Boom, boom. And I think it shows it comes from the heart. And me being a natural health specialist, I love the thought of houseplants because it filters the air, and allergies and nasal issues, breathing issues, that's a big part of a lot of people's health problems. So having these, the more of these in your house, the better, the cleaner the air. Okay, and I mean, what's better than knowing that people are growing trees that you started from seed in different places of the world. So, all right, I'm going to set this to a time lapse. I'm going to stop running my mouth, and you can watch me plant these low maintenance, high gratitude Christmas gifts. So that's what's coming up next. Stand by. All right, y'all, so that's going to do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. I hope you enjoyed your time at the ranch. Give the gift of plants and trees. Spread the love. People might not even know that they have a green thumb or that they'll enjoy growing things. I mean, I just know how much fun each process of the growing is, from growing from seed, propagating, pruning. I really enjoy it all, and I didn't even pick this hobby up until February 16th, 2018, and now I'm obsessed. So give the gift of a plant. At a minimum, you'll give them some cleaner air and put a smile on their face. Show people you appreciate them this year. I appreciate y'all. If you appreciate this channel and this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for much more to come. Have a great day, y'all.